Edu and Roman, good to go?
Looks good. Still need to evaluate how they felt on the field today coming back, but I think we're very positive that we'll have them available for Saturday.
And in Edu's case, I mean, well enough that he can start and go along.
Yeah, I mean, I always think that if you have to be, if you're going to start, in theory, you should be well enough to go the 90. So that's another thing we'll have to just determine, you know. But just from the 30 seconds I just talked to him, he said he felt great. So,
as you look at this team and the ups and downs it's gone through, how have you felt about the team's focus?
It's tough to be focused with so many other things going on around. So that's one of our very quick goals, is to get everybody back and focused on the right things and in the right way. So I don't think that's a fault that I would put on the team or anything like that. It's just a result of everything that's happened so far. But like the cliche, you can only control what you can control. That's what we're trying to keep our focus on, no longer the referees or anything like that. Just, trying to expend energy on the things that we can help move in a positive direction.
Because when you look at things like in the last game, is it lapses in focus that contribute to?
I would say I don't think it's as focused as much as it is. It's always tough to. I wouldn't put that on them. I don't want to say anymore.
Coach, hasn't been that long since the team played Vancouver. What did you see from that last game that you might be trying to implement differently, this being your first time coaching against that team?
Yeah. Look, I would say that if we can start in a similar fashion, take the goals out of it, and then just finish stronger than we start. And that, I think, is our focus in this match, playing at home, trying to put a complete performance together. It's easy for me to sit up here and say, I think if they would have finished stronger, they would have gotten the result there. But that's soccer too, I always think of it sometimes like a chess match, and the deeper you go into a chess match, the more open and vulnerable you are. So you need to, be stronger towards the end of it. And that's our goal. If we can put together that kind of performance, be better in the second half, but specifically better in the last 20 minutes, gives us a good chance to be successful.
One of the things over the past couple of games that really seems magnified is the transition defense. What are you looking to do to kind of shore that up, especially against guys like Brian White and Ryan Gold?
Yeah, take away their time and space. And without giving away too many tactical secrets of how we want to play them, that's it. You got to take away the Ryan Brian show and not give them what they want. So I think, you'll see a little bit of that. At least that's what we will attempt to do. They're still quality players. They can improvise. And, if we take away something, they can expose you with another one. But that will certainly be one of our objectives in the game.
Coach, with this week being kind of a normal week, except for the game on Sunday, but more days to train, have you tried to implement any new things you are looking at?
Sure, but mostly just the fact that we had 4 full days of training and time to prepare and time to recover. And then, like, for instance, you guys saw today was a short training session, not very hard. Yesterday was a really high load, for them. So just trying to get them on a periodization so their bodies can be right and physically and mentally prepared for Saturday.
Coach, I'm just curious. I'm sure you had a different perspective before you were on the pitch coaching this season. Now that you're on the sideline, is that perspective changed at all, or do you feel like you can use that initial perspective to help out a bit more with what you're doing now?
Yeah, you always try to do that, right? And in my role previous to being on the field, I was still trying to do that. So now that I have some of those ideas from the past or from the last part of the season, and it's at least I've been here. I can see it. We've discussed it internally. Now we can focus on those things to try to improve and fix.
You mentioned on Tuesday that, there's no secret. This weekend is a big game. And I know you talked about wanting to see a performance. I imagine that's the focus, but is there any part of you that thinks Western Conference Showdown, team that's ahead of you in the standings, there are bigger implications as far as playoffs are concerned with this game specifically?
Yeah, no doubt. I also just think that if you have a good performance, you put yourselves in a great position to win. And I don't like to come out here and say, oh, we have to win, because that doesn't really get you to the win. It's doing the right things along the way. It's finishing the game stronger. It's having a really good tactical plan, executing that, dealing with all the problems that you'll have to deal with, decisions that players will make on the field. So again, it's more about how we perform. And if we perform well, I would say we did that for sure for the first half against San Jose. We didn't do that very consistently against Colorado. So therefore, that's something we have to work on. We have to build on. I think I explained on Tuesday that if we would have gotten, that equalizer in Colorado, we would have a very different feeling out of it, something to build on. But instead, we have to try to figure out, hey, can we give ourselves that chance that we let slip away against Colorado? Can we do that against a very good Vancouver team here at home? And that'll obviously be the goal.
Jake Goodwood-Reich, is he started practicing? What's his
First practice he was in was today. So good to have him. We're making a lot of Australian jokes in the locker room. That's fun.
And then is Hartle, any update on his arrival?
That's I keep bugging everybody I can in the building to try to get him here as soon as possible. So, but no real update as of right now. I couldn't give you an answer when he's going to arrive.
Have you looked at just the math of what it takes to get to the playoffs for you guys and know?
Yeah, of course. And I look at it a lot, but at the same time, I have to remind myself that that's not the thing that we should be focused on right now. Quite candidly, like we have to slowly but surely fix the things that we weren't doing correctly previously. And a lot of those don't have to do with soccer. And we have to get that part right in order for us to be in a position where we can go out and play the kind of soccer that I'm vaguely describing, so that we can win games. And I feel really good about, the group right now and what we've done, but I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that we fixed everything, because very candidly, we haven't, so we need time. But I love the work ethic of the group. I think, and I've said it all along, fabulous group of men to work with. So, I'm optimistic by nature, and I think that we have a good shot to do that.
Next, we're going to Matt Rocchio.
Hey, Coach Hack. A lot of the big moments from this past game came when the defense kind of stepped up to take a guy away. Wenzel, a lot of them, Watson, Totland over on the right side were stepping up, and that created a lot of space behind you guys. But it also cut out a lot of their attacks that we're not really focusing on. So I just want to get your opinion. How do you balance the aggressiveness of one of your center backs or one of your defenders stepping up into the play versus sitting back and maybe waiting for reinforcements from the midfield?
That's an excellent example. When you get it wrong, you get exposed. When you get it right, you look great, and now you can go to goal. And the key thing is the decisions of the defenders. When do they step? How aggressively can they step? And if they don't do that, especially against a team like Colorado, with the amount of space that we were giving them in behind, it gives them everything they want. So we didn't get that right in Colorado. I thought we were better in the second half. One thing, Lutz was like, hey, we didn't play that well in the second half, and is what we were kind of talking about initially right after the game. And when I watch it back, I'm like, well, we made a change in halftime. We weren't going to step as high. So while we gave them more of the ball, we didn't give up the chances that we gave up in the first half. And again, felt good about if we could just be in the last 10 to 15 minutes of that game, giving ourselves a chance to equalize. it would have been great. That didn't happen. And so now we got to learn from that. But it's a perfect example that fine line of being aggressive and giving up space behind you when you don't win those tackles, when you don't win those one-on-one duels.
Any updates on Joachim Nilsson and his status for this weekend? Is he in that category of able to go 90, so a candidate to start?
He looks great in training. But I definitely want to be cautious with him, and I want him to feel like he can go 100%. It's one thing to do it in smaller space in training. He looked great on Tuesday, he looked great yesterday, again, feels good today. But, when you're saying, okay, you got to make a one-on-one sprint, with the 9, if it's Brian White, for instance, I mean, that's 100% sprint. And I just want Joachim to feel that he is 100%. And when he tells me he's 100%, then I'll think he's available and ready to go for 90. I would definitely think there's a chance he could be, which is awesome,
Coach, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Nökkvi, how's it been, the front line going through the changes it's gone through with the injuries, and what's offensively, where does this team stand right now?
In my opinion, we're in you saw it in the San Jose game. We created a lot of chances, good chances. We scored 2 goals, and I think we're in a good spot. Colorado game was a difficult one for us, where we maybe didn't create a lot of chances, but that's football. It happens. So we're in a good spot, and I'm very positive for the upcoming weeks, and we're just gonna get better and better. So yeah, only the word that comes to mind is just positive.
How's it been for you? You've started a bunch of games now in a row. How has that been for you?
It's been great. It's been awesome to get back to football and playing 90 and scoring goals, and yeah, that's why you're doing this. So it's been very good.
Have you felt you should have had more goals though?
Of course, but as a forward, the most important thing is to get into those positions, and the goals will just automatically come.
Sandy?
Nökkvi playing Vancouver again, 10 days, 14 days later. Any takeaways from that game for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a game where we went 2-0 up, and where we could have gotten a result, but we didn't. So it's definitely a good chance for us to get result this coming Saturday. So I'm very optimistic.
I know Tom just kind of touched on this, but for yourself, now that you have a year or so under your belt, both in the country, in the league, and with the team, just how much of a difference does it make having a comfort level now playing here in St. Louis?
I mean, every time you switch to a new team, it's a adaptation period. So it makes a lot of difference. The more you get into things, the more you get to know the league, the more you get to know your teammates, the more you get more comfortable, and with that you get more, you get more good performances, and so it helps a lot.
Daniel?
If I'm just curious, you mentioned just a general positivity, and I love that, but I'm just curious, as you look around world football, every time a new manager comes in, they talk about the new manager bounce. Amongst you and your teammates, what are those conversations like with Hack kind of taking the reins, even though he is a familiar face? What's the energy like in the locker room with a new manager these last couple of games?
Just positive, and because we know Hack, and a lot of the guys have already been with him. It's my first time with him, but the first training sessions and first games, I mean, he's great. And as a person, he's even better. So it makes it very easy, and guys are very excited to play for him, because he's that type of person that you want to give everything for, and he cares a lot about his players. And so it was a very, I wouldn't say easy transition, but it was easier transition because it was him. So
Earlier training sessions, but has anything else felt different?
yeah, for me personally, it's just there's there's optimism and a lot of positivity around the club, around the locker room. So it's I'm very positive for the future now.
Thank you. Coach was saying it's not a lack of focus, but there's still some things with all the changes going on that you've wanted to tweak in the locker room, on the training pitch, out in games. Can you talk about what some of those might be and maybe who's stepping up to try and rally this team together to get the results that you know you can get and you're capable of?
These tweaks are just getting everyone on the same page, so that everyone knows their role, know what they're doing, know what they're expected of, and so it's just minor things. And then he, of course, has his own idea of how we should play, and that's what we. It was good to have this week finally to get those things into practice, and it takes time, but this week was very important to get those things in place. And yeah, it was just these minor things of getting everyone on the same page, going in the same direction, and then just tweaking those little things on the pitch.
Nökkvi, how has this transition to being the single striker been over the past few weeks, taking that Klaus or the number 9 role, whereas before you had been spending a lot of time out on the wing, both mentally and tactically?
For me, I've played there before, so it's nothing that new for me, and it's been fun because a lot of my strengths can be used there. So it's it's fun for me to keep improving in that position. And Klaus has been watching every game and helping me a lot, giving me tips, and yeah, I scored, and there was a lot of thanks to him because he gave me a lot of. Yeah, like I said, a lot of tips and a lot of help. So it's been fun.
With this system, a lot of the service comes from the fullbacks, the wing areas. How do you feel your repertoire has grown from guys like yourself in Indy or Jaden Reed, Thomas Totland?
I mean, I feel like the connection just gets better and better. And of course, it's only been 2 games, but we saw it straight away in the San Jose game where I got a couple of opportunities to score, which is the most important for a striker, is to get into those places and get those opportunities to score, and then the goals will follow. And yeah, it's just football is a game of connection, so it was good.
What else?
Who do you like in the Euro final?
It's a tough question, but the way Spain are playing, I think they are the favorites, so I'm gonna go for Spain.
What's the competition like, especially as you see Cedric training with the team, Hartl coming in soon? What's the feeling there within, Klaus will be back soon?
It's very good. I think it's more about how do you use all those talent together, and how do you put them all together on the pitch to use the strength of us all together. So it's of course competition is always good, but I feel like, I mean, me and Cedric get along very well. Me and Klaus get along very well. So I think the best it's to find a way to use all of our strengths.
Nökkvi, thank you for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.